Journey back with me to the late 17th century, to a small, burgeoning settlement known as Salem Village. Nestled in the New England region, this Puritan community was a place of faith and simplicity. Yet beneath the austere lifestyle, societal pressures were brewing. In this tight-knit community, a chilling series of events would soon transpire. The Puritans, a devout and strict religious group, formed the backbone of Salem Village. This community was characterized by a deep-seated belief in the omnipresence of God and the ever-looming threat of the devil. This dichotomy of good and evil was not just an abstract concept, but a reality that shaped their daily lives and interactions. The Puritans held themselves to a high moral standard, with societal norms and expectations that left little room for deviation. Their society was regulated by a rigid code of conduct, where each individual was expected to live a life of austerity, piety, and above all, obedience to God's will. This strict societal framework extended to every facet of their lives, from how they dressed, to how they conducted business, and even to how they interacted with one another. The Puritan Society was a tight-knit community, but one that was quick to ostracize those who dared to step out of line. In this austere environment, anything outside the norm raised suspicion and fear. In the winter of 1692, strange afflictions began to plague several young girls of Salem Village. They exhibited bizarre behavior, contorting their bodies in unusual ways, blurting out strange phrases, and even appearing to have fits. The community was baffled and terrified by these inexplicable symptoms. Promptly, the finger of blame was pointed towards witchcraft, a deeply feared and misunderstood concept in the Puritan Society. The first to be accused were Sarah Good, a homeless beggar, Sarah Osborne, an elderly woman, and Tituba, an enslaved woman from the Caribbean. These women were seen as easy targets, residing on the fringes of the Puritan Society and not conforming to its strict norms. The accusations were primarily based on the testimonies of the afflicted girls, who claimed to have been bewitched by these women. The community, driven by fear and a desperate need for answers, readily believed them. These mysterious afflictions sparked the beginning of the infamous Salem Witch Trials. Among the accused was a slave named Tituba, whose story adds a complex layer to the trials. Tituba hailed from the Caribbean, and was the first to be accused of witchcraft in Salem Village. Her cultural background, rich with stories of magic and spirits, was a stark contrast to the strict Puritan norms of her new home. It was this difference that played a crucial role in shaping the narrative of the trials. Upon accusation, Tituba confessed, but her confession was far from ordinary. She spoke of black dogs, red cats, and a tall man dressed in black, who wanted her to sign his book. These vivid descriptions, drawn from her Caribbean heritage, were unfamiliar and terrifying to the Puritans. This fear, coupled with the societal pressure, led to a frenzy of accusations and irrational behavior. Tituba's testimony set the stage for a widespread witch hunt. As fears escalated, the accusations of witchcraft spread like wildfire. It was as if a switch had been flicked, turning neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend. The once close-knit community of Salem Village was now a breeding ground for hysteria. Accusations multiplied, each one more outlandish than the last. It seemed no one was safe from the pointing finger of suspicion. The accused were subjected to public humiliation, their reputations shattered, their lives upended. For some, the only escape was the hangman's noose, yet the accusers too paid a price. They were gripped by a fear so potent it made them see enemies in the faces of their own kin. They were trapped in their own nightmares, their lives dominated by paranoia and dread. With every new accusation, the hysteria grew, the panic spread, and the community was ensnared in a vortex of suspicion and fear. To handle the escalating crisis, a special court was established. This was no ordinary court, but the court of Oyer and Terminer, a legal body specifically created to handle the growing witchcraft cases in Salem. Oyer and Terminer, meaning to hear and to decide in Old French, was exactly what this court aimed to do. The court was composed of 7 judges, all of whom were prominent figures in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. The accused were not afforded the luxury of legal representation, and the rules of evidence were, let's say, less than rigorous. Spectral evidence, which included dreams, visions, and even the supposed apparitions of the accused, was considered admissible. It was a court where the normal legal checks and balances were tossed aside, replaced by a fervor to root out perceived evil. The court's procedures were as terrifying as the accusations themselves. The accused were presumed guilty until proven innocent, a stark reversal of today's legal standards. Justice, it seemed, was in the hands of the fearful and the fervent. Among the many accused, some trials and their outcomes stand out. The first person to be brought to trial was Bridget Bishop. Known for her flamboyant lifestyle and multiple marriages, she was an easy target for the community's suspicions. Despite her vehement denials, Bridget was found guilty and became the first person executed during the Salem Witch Trials. Then, there was Rebecca Nurse. A respected and pious elderly woman, her accusation shocked the community. Despite numerous testimonies to her good character, Rebecca was also found guilty and executed. Her trial exposed the extent of the hysteria, proving that no one was safe from accusations. These were just two among many who faced the harsh judgment of the court. From May through September of 1692, a total of 19 accused witches were hanged on Gallows Hill, and another, Giles Corey, was pressed to death under heavy stones. In a span of a few months, 20 people would lose their lives to the witch hunt. The Salem Witch Trials left an indelible mark on American history. They stand as a stark reminder of a time when fear and suspicion overpowered reason and justice. But what lessons can we draw from these events that occurred over 3 centuries ago? Firstly, we learn the importance of tolerance. The Puritan Society of Salem was deeply intolerant of differences, whether they were religious, social, or cultural. This intolerance fueled the witch trials, turning neighbor against neighbor and friend against friend. It underscores the need for us to accept and respect differences, rather than fear them. Secondly, the trials highlight the dangers of mass hysteria. Fueled by fear and superstition, the people of Salem were swept up in a frenzy of accusations and trials. The hysteria blinded them to the injustice of their actions, leading to the tragic loss of innocent lives. It serves as a warning of how fear can cloud judgment and lead to irrational and harmful actions. Lastly, the trials underscore the importance of due process and fair trials. Many of those accused in Salem were denied basic legal rights, and the use of spectral evidence made a mockery of justice. It reminds us of the need for fairness and transparency in our legal systems. The echoes of Salem serve as a stark reminder of the perils of fear and intolerance. As we delve into history, we must strive to learn from our past, to prevent such tragedies from recurring in our future. The events of Salem, though centuries past, still resonate today. As we journey through the annals of history, we find that the Salem witch trials are more than a tale of witchcraft and paranoia. They stand as a stark reminder of the dangers of mass hysteria and the erosion of due process. Today, we can draw parallels with the trials and our own societal issues. The spread of misinformation, the scapegoating of minority groups, and the abuse of power are patterns we can identify in both eras. The trials also shed light on human behavior under stress, revealing how fear and uncertainty can lead to irrational actions and decisions. It is a sobering realization that the social dynamics that fueled the Salem witch trials are not confined to the 17th century. They are part of our human nature, capable of surfacing in any age and any society. As we navigate our own societal challenges, the lessons from Salem remain as relevant as ever.